Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to take a look at how to write professional emails in English, what to say and what to avoid. And I'm going to break them down by situation and by formality or who you're writing to. So this video is going to be quite structured that way. It's probably going to be pretty long too because there's lots to go through, but don't worry, at the very end of the video I will go into the comments and I'll put a PDF of every single phrase I've used, all the structure, the timings for each of these in the comments of the YouTube video. So you can go through, click on it, and download the PDF after this video. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Melissa B. Duarte. I'm the author of the Global Business English Mastery Series, and I'm also launching masterclasses in business English in August 2025, so stay tuned. Anyways, not enough about me. Let's jump right in and get to emails. Here we go. Okay, first up is do's and don'ts of writing emails in business. Okay, so this is important to know. And some of these, I'm sure maybe you don't know, because a lot of these I do find from students or advanced or upper intermediate level English as second language students, and they send emails and they are making these mistakes. So let's make sure you know these. Number one, in the subject line, you need to capitalize every word except for grammar words. So you wouldn't capitalize a or the or of. You wouldn't do prepositions, you wouldn't do articles, but every other word is capitalized. I'm going to run an example there for you. So make sure your subject line, you're capitalizing that. Next one is you're going to greet the person appropriately. This, again, I've seen students say, Melissa, hi, and then they go into the message. If you start with my name, I think you're upset with me. It's very aggressive in English, so you never start with the person's name. Even if you say hi or hello or I hope you're having a great day, doesn't matter. You can never start an email with a person's name. It's always hi Melissa, hello Melissa, dear Melissa. Never, just the person's name. You have to start with a greeting first. Very important. On top of that, you wouldn't even just say Melissa and then go into your message. That's even extremely rude in English. So make sure you're saying hello Melissa, dear Melissa, hi Melissa. That's great. And a comma after the name is pretty common. For emails, it's important. When it comes to group chats, we're getting a little lazy with punctuation, so you don't need it. Next one is to get to the point politely. People are busy. No one has time to read a full essay of your requests or what's important to you. Try bullet points. People love bullet points. Try to keep it concise. Concise is a lot of information in a small package. Try to keep it concise, to the point, and very, very politely. And if it does need to be a longer email, make sure you're following structure that you probably learned in university or high school, paragraphs. So a paragraph in English, you don't want to have it more than 5 sentences. So if your email is running 5 sentences or it moves on to a new topic, you move on to a new paragraph. We don't want to be inundated with too much vocabulary, too many sentences. That's important. Another note about long writing is in English, a sentence is usually a line or a line and a half. So I know in some cultures, sentences can just go on for 5 lines, not in English. So really important with the structure of your email, break it up into paragraphs, maximum 5 sentences per paragraph, usually. If it changes the topic, change the paragraph. And then when you're writing something, about a line and a half is usually max for a sentence. So put a period on it and then move on to another sentence. And the next one is you need to always close or finish your email politely and professionally. That's important. Just basics. I'll give an example here in the video. Okay, and that's my first bit for some do's and don'ts. Let's go on to starting the email. Okay, so now we're ready to start the email. So starting an email is going to be either formal or neutral or more internal and casual. So let's start with the formal one. First of all, with a formal email, you usually start with dear. You could say hello, but dear is kind of the standard. It's boring and it's old-fashioned, but we still do it, again, if it's quite formal. So you want to say dear, and then you want to use Mr. or Ms. Now for men, everyone knows Mr. So you're going to say, Dear Mr. Ahmed. And so, Dear Mr. Ahmed, and that's it, and a comma after that. Now, if it's a woman, of course, for women, we have 3 different titles. It can be Miss, that's for an unmarried woman. It could be Mrs., that's for a married woman. And then we have Ms., which is MS dot. I'm going to write them all here. And nowadays, I don't even see Miss or Mrs. very often. It's almost always Ms. because women work in business a lot, and it doesn't matter if you're married or not married, and who cares, and none of your business. So we don't tend to even write Miss or Mrs. very much in business anyway. So you want to say Mr. or Ms. That's it. If you do know the person's full first name, you could add it in there as well, or just go with their last name. It doesn't matter. After you say, Dear Ms. Ahmed, you put a comma. Next line. This little bit of structure does matter to the English eye, and is the standard in the English world. Again, you never want to miss the greeting at all. You have to have dear or hello or hope or hi. But again, in the formal one, dear is pretty standard. So you can say, I hope this message finds you well, period. I'm writing to request the final sales figures for Q3, which are required for our upcoming report. So you're just saying, Dear Mr. Ahmed, I hope this message finds you well. This is very beautiful, saying, I hope you're having a good day. And then you're saying right off the bat, it's an idiom, means immediately. Right off the bat, you're telling them why you're writing and what you want. People love this. So just cut to the chase. Cut to the chase is another idiom that means get to the main point, get to the most important part. Again, I'll put all these words in the document. So everything I use here, all the vocabulary and phrases I use, I will put in the PDF document. And so you're being very polite, asking them how they're doing, or hope this message finds you well, and you're going right to what you need. This is important. Next one is a bit more neutral. So you could say, Hi, Pira. I hope you're having a great week. You wouldn't say this on Monday, because that'd be strange. You say, I hope you're having a great day. But if it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I hope you're having a great week. Just reaching out to see if the Q3 sales numbers are available yet. So just reaching out means I'm just connecting with you. To reach out means to connect with someone. And again, it's polite. You're saying, Hi, Pira. Again, that comma is still important, even if it's neutral. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you're having a great day. This is a nice greeting to kind of open the door to the conversation. And then you're telling them why you're writing. People appreciate this. Okay, and the last one's a bit more casual, a bit more internal, kind of more of a friendly tone. This is fine for messaging systems like Slack or Messenger, and fine for emails also. But you can say, Hi, Jason, or Hey, Jason. I tend to like hi a bit more than hey. Hey's really quite casual, but whatever, do what you want. I mean, know what your colleagues are using. If all your colleagues are using hey, use hey. But if they're not using hey, stick to hi. It's kind of a safer zone. And then quick question. Again, punctuation is kind of going out the window when it comes to online communication and messaging services. I bet a lot of punctuation is going to die in the future when it comes to sending messages, because we're just getting a bit lazy with it. And we want responses and we want information quick. So this is fine. Quick question, line, hyphen. Do you have the Q3 sales stats handy? Stats is short for statistics, and handy means readily available to you. So by saying this, you mean all you're saying is, Hi, Jason, quick question. I'm not going to waste your time. Do you have the Q3 sales stats handy? And this means, do you have the Q3 sales stats available to you? Easily available to you so you can send them to me? This is very polite. It's nice. Okay, moving along, making a request, which is pretty much similar to the first part we had, is making a request. You need something from someone. So here's what to write. You need to be clear, polite, and specific. This is so important. In any message you send in English, make sure you're clear, polite, and specific. So, and just everyone appreciates if you get to the point, you're clear, you're polite and specific. They don't have to guess, what did they mean by this? And then they have to send you a message back. It's all very clear. If you have something you're requesting that's quite urgent, give them a deadline. Again, people appreciate this, and it's totally fine to do. You just have to say it in a way that's polite and not too pushy. People have their own work to do. So if you're asking for something from someone, well, they're going to put their own work on hold to get what you need. So of course you have to be polite about it. So good one is, would you mind sending over the updated contract by Friday? Now, by Friday means before Friday, or maybe Friday morning. If you say before Friday, it would be by Thursday. So careful with that. If you need something by Friday, it means they can send it to you Friday morning, or maybe even early day Friday. But if you need to have it at 8 a.m. Friday, you say before Friday, and they'll send it to you for Thursday. So that's important, the difference between by and before. Also, could you please confirm your attendance by 3 p.m. today? Which means I need to know if you're coming to the conference by 3 p.m. today. 3 p.m. is my cutoff for booking tickets, for example. What you don't want to write is, can you do this ASAP? Now, ASAP is interesting. ASAP, of course, it means as soon as possible. Everyone knows that. And it's an acronym. Everyone knows that. Acronyms get capitalized. Everyone knows that. But anytime you use capitals in written English, you're shouting at them. So we try to avoid using capitals. And if you need to say you need something like ASAP, use it lowercase. You can totally do that. You can put ASAP in lowercase. I wouldn't do this for a formal email, but a neutral email in 80% of business, you can completely put ASAP in lowercase, and it just means I need it as soon as possible, but I'm not shouting at you. So keep that in mind. You can totally use it. Don't use uppercase unless you have to. Another one would be, this is time sensitive. If something's really important, don't shout ASAP. Say, this is time sensitive. I'd appreciate if you could prioritize it today. So this is time sensitive, meaning we have to get this done. And I'd appreciate it if you could prioritize this today. I'd appreciate it if you could. Using these modal verbs makes your English so polite. Now, if you notice how I wrote, I'd appreciate it if you could prioritize this today. I'd. And I'd, that contraction is I would. Contracting in English is really important, especially in spoken English. But when you want to kind of tone down the professionalism or the formality of your email, this is really good to contract it. So of course you would if it was spoken English, you wouldn't say, I would appreciate it if you could prioritize this today. You'd always contract it. You'd say, I'd appreciate it if you could prioritize this today. But when you're choosing to write an email, if it's quite formal, you could say, I would appreciate it. But in most neutral and general emails, like 80% contracted, I'd appreciate it. And that's very good. Another one would be, we'll need this completed by 5 p.m. in order to meet the client deadline. So we'll need this completed. We, meaning my department, will need this completed by 5 p.m., before 5 p.m. or exactly at 5 p.m. in order to meet the client deadline. So if you don't do this, we're not going to meet our client deadline, and that's a big deal. So this is all very polite. This is firm. But for an urgent request, this is perfect language. Okay, the next one is a big one. We've all sent requests to people, and we're waiting for their response and waiting for their response. If they're not responding, okay, you have to send an email to kind of push them to reply to your original request, a follow-up email. This is difficult to do. There used to be a standard saying, as per my previous email, as per my previous request. This is now kind of comes across as kind of sarcastic and a little passive aggressive. So get that out of your vocabulary. No one uses it anymore. And if you do use it, you're kind of being a little strong or a little sarcastic. So don't use that one. We got better ones for you here. So first of all, if we look at some formal ones, you can just say, Dear Ms. Completon, I'm writing to follow up on my previous message regarding, put your topic. I'd be grateful for a brief update as soon as you can. And I'd be grateful means, again, see that contraction, I'd. and this is formal, I'd be grateful for a brief update as soon as you can, meaning I know you're busy, but this would mean so much to me if you could update me at your earliest convenience or as soon as you can. So this is very nice. And a brief update just means I don't need all the details. Just give me something. I'm waiting for something. So that's a good one. So that's a formal one. That works. Neutral would just be, hello, Tim, just following up on the below. Do you have any updates? So you're going to take the previous email you sent. We all know this, right? And you're going to reply all or forward it. So they have your original request below. Hi, Tim, just following up on the below. Do you have any updates? And then this is so polite because you're just saying, hi, Tim, following up on this. I sent it to you. Tim's going to go, oh, oops, I haven't done it yet. Or that fell through the cracks. To fall through the cracks is an idiom, meaning I had a lot of work to do and that one just got missed, just fell away from me. And do you have any updates? Again, you're not asking for everything, but you're asking for any updates. So of course, Tim could say, I'll get it to you by 2:00 today. I'm working on it, just waiting for one person to give me the data I need. So you'll get an update from Tim. This is very friendly, very neutral. Another one would be, and this is a bit more casual. Hi again, just wanted to check in and see if you've had a chance to look at this. So again, this is so polite. If I received any of these following up on something, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll get it for you. No problem. These are all polite. They're all tactful. And tactful is just knowing what to say and when to say it. So knowing the situation you're in, this is great. And people will go, oh, and they'll either realize that something fell through the cracks, something was reduced in priority, they missed something, or they've been too busy to do it, but they'll appreciate your little reminder. This is a great way to say it. Okay, now if you are the person who someone had to remind to send something in, and you have to reply to them, well, you're going to reply with a bit of an apology because they had to follow up with you and they were waiting for something from you and you didn't give it to them. So this is very important as well. So the first one would be a bit more formal if you are late sending in something or replying to something, or even if a mistake happened, but usually it's a delay. Then in a formal way, you could say, please accept my sincerest apologies for the delay, and then give them a reason. We've experienced an unexpected issue, but now we're back on track. Back on track means we were like a train going to the station, going to your goal, and something happened, some issue happened. Issue is a nice way to say problem in business English. Avoid saying problem, use issue all the time. So please accept my sincerest apologies for the delay. We've experienced an unexpected issue, but now we're back on track. This just means I'm so sorry you had to follow up with me. I'm so sorry. I know your time is important. I know you're expecting this from me. My sincerest apologies for the delay. This is why it happened, and I'm back on track now. Don't worry about it. You'll get what you need. It's very formal, but it's very professional. It's a good one. Next one is a bit more neutral. Sorry for the delay. There was a technical issue that we had to resolve. Thanks so much for your patience. So again, you're apologizing for the delay. I did a whole lesson on not saying sorry and not apologizing, and then I'm using it here, but you do want to avoid saying sorry or I apologize unless because of something you've done, someone did lose money, or the client got angry, or you're making them work extra. If that happens, say sorry, apologize. If not, if it's kind of just, it's not something that's time sensitive, but it's not an emergency and not a big deal, you could say thanks for waiting. And that's another way of saying sorry for the delay. But if someone's already followed up with you because you're late giving them something that they're expecting, you probably should say sorry. And just say thanks for your patience and then get them what they want. Next one would be something friendly. Hi, sorry for the wait. I had a glitch on our end. It's all sorted now. So a glitch means a technical issue, or if people are waiting for something. I mean, maybe you forgot. And if you did forget and you feel comfortable with that person and they're not going to judge you for forgetting, you can say, that completely fell off my radar. That means I forgot. Or that slipped through the cracks, meaning I had all this work and that just fell out and then I missed it. So if you're comfortable with the person, you can say those things. If it's a professional environment, you're not close to the person, you don't want them to think that you're not capable. You don't want them to think that you're not professional. So I'm not saying lie, like never lie. Lying is horrible. I don't condone it one bit. But you can just say, sorry for the wait. We had a glitch on our end. And a glitch could be a technical glitch, or a glitch could be I couldn't find the file, or a glitch could be the electricity went out at the office, or a glitch could be an urgent client request came in. A glitch is a little problem that kind of changes your day and it slows down your day. So you could say that, and that's quite good. Over the last few years, I've heard a lot of students in business English saying, my bad, my bad. Okay, this is way too slang for business. Like, unless you can literally wear hoodies and flip-flops to your work, don't say my bad. It's just way too informal. So just say, that was on me. If you want to say that was my responsibility, that was on me. And that's a bit more casual, it's neutral. But my bad, don't use it in business. Okay, so now we're away from those awkward situations. Awkward means uncomfortable, of having to follow up with people or having to apologize for not doing your end of the bargain when someone asks for something. Now we're on to something a bit nicer, and that's giving feedback, positive or constructive feedback. So positive feedback in a professional environment, in a very professional a way to send it in an email would be, great job in the presentation. Your points were clear and engaging. I look forward to your next one. And this is just great. Someone gives a presentation and you want to say kudos. Kudos means good job, respect to you. And if you want to say kudos, you did a great job in a nice email, nice professional, positive tone, great job on the presentation. Your points were clear and engaging. Looking forward to the next one. That's a great one. Now, if you want to give more constructive criticism or constructive feedback, and this is a bit more neutral and diplomatic. Diplomatic is very important. Diplomacy in business makes the business world go around. So thanks for your work on this. One area we might improve on is the formatting. It would be helpful to align it with the client's style guide. So it just means, thanks for your work. You're appreciating the effort they put into something. One area we might improve is whatever the area is, and then tell them why. And again, you're using a modal verb here. One area we might improve. I mean, anytime you use a modal verb, it really ups the politeness and it makes it a lot easier for people to be receptive and receive any type of criticism or constructive feedback. Another one, which is quite good, it's firm but polite, would be, unfortunately, this version does not meet the required standards. Please review the brand guidelines and resubmit by Wednesday. So someone gives a presentation, they did not at all follow the brand guidelines. It's unacceptable. So you can't say, why didn't you read what you needed to read? You didn't prepare correctly. You didn't hit the mark. Hit the mark is you're going to actually hit my expectations. So you just say, unfortunately, which is very nice to start with. When you do start a sentence with an adverb or adverbial phrase, you want to put a comma there. So unfortunately, this version doesn't meet the required standards. Here's my standards, and you're right here. You didn't meet my standards. Please resubmit it. Again, you're giving them a deadline by Wednesday. And you want to avoid saying, this isn't good, this is wrong, it's not good enough, redo it. No, you have to be quite diplomatic. Let them know it didn't hit the standard. There's my standard. It hit down here. It didn't meet what I expected. Please redo it. Please resubmit by Wednesday. It's very polite. Okay, so now we're at the end of our email. I mean, this would not be one email because we've had quite a few different situations within this one email, and we had different formalities within this one email. But hopefully from each little section and situation and formality, you could pick and choose what works for you going forward with different situations. So now we're going to say goodbye. We need to close the email, just like it's so important to say hello and the person's name, and then you also have to close it. So the common three would be kind regards, best regards, sincerely. Sincerely is the gold standard for conservative formal emails. So if you're working in a very, very formal or conservative industry, sincerely is great. If you're working in most industries, kind regards works for almost every industry. This is a good one. Best regards also is a good one. Another one, if it's more neutral, so not overly formal, best, thanks again, many thanks, all the best. Those are all fantastic. If you notice here, every single time you have these, you have a comma. So you have to put a comma at the end. Kind regards, comma, best, comma, and then you put your name at the bottom. Just like you'd say, hello, Melissa, comma, and start your message. You finish it the same way. This punctuation is still quite relevant and still quite important. Again, when it comes to Teams or Slack, not as common, but then you wouldn't even sign off from a team or Slack message with kind regards. So you don't need it. And then a bit more friendly or informal would be cheers. Cheers means thank you. You probably know cheers like how putting two glasses together. But in British English, cheers means thank you. So you can say cheers, thanks, talk soon, take care. All those are fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to give you a whole sample email. Bear with me here because I do have to read it off my computer because I can't remember an email in my head. Nobody can. So subject line is important, feedback request, presentation slides. Notice how all of those are capitalized. Remember the subject line, you got to capitalize each of those words. Next one, hi Elena, comma, you have the greeting there. Thanks again for putting together the presentation for the upcoming client meeting. You're saying something polite. Hope your day's going well, or thanks again for this, right? Always start with something polite. The content looks strong, and I appreciate the effort you've put into it. Again, that contraction, you've put into it, not you have, you've. A couple of quick suggestions before we finalize it. Bullet points. People love bullet points, right? So put your bullet points if you're listing multiple things. Let's replace the placeholder graphs on slide 3 with the updated figures. Could you double check the branding on slides 1 and 5? So when you say could you double check the branding on slides 1 and 5, this means the branding is not good on slides 1 and 5. Go check it. Go fix it. If possible, we aim to have the updated version by Thursday afternoon, or sorry, if possible, can we aim? So again, you could say, if possible, we aim to have the updated version by Thursday afternoon, period. But here I've written it, obviously, can we? And this is even more polite when you're saying something, you need something from someone. I need a pen. Can I get a pen? So anytime we say can, it's even that much more polite. So if possible, can we aim to have the updated version by Thursday afternoon? That would give us enough time for review. So you're giving them a deadline, again, by Thursday afternoon, which means Thursday afternoon, 3 o'clock, I need it, maybe 4 o'clock, but by. And then you're telling them why you need it, why that's important. And thanks again for all your hard work. That's a nice way to kind of finish something. I enjoy working with you. Looking forward to our next collaboration. Best regards, comma, Melissa. And put your name in there. Again, if it's more formal, you're going to put your surname. Interesting note here, surname, last name, and family name are all synonyms. So in English, we do have 3 names for our last name. Okay, now we're done with our email. We sent an email. I read you an email. The email is done. Let's just review some common email mistakes that you want to avoid. If you do make a mistake, if you are late responding to something, please avoid over apologizing. This is the business world. You're employed, you work, you're capable, you're professional. You don't need to over apologize at all. If you really need to apologize, you say it once. And that's it. Another thing is not to be vague. People's time is precious. I don't have time to read an email and saying, what does he mean by that? What does she want here? I don't know. So you don't be vague. Don't say this thing, that stuff, or don't beat around the bush. Beat around the bush means to avoid getting direct to what you need. Be clear and be very precise with what you need. People appreciate that. And again, like we had previously in this video, I've shown you many ways to talk very directly and be very clear, but be polite. It's perfect. Again, another one is subject line. A subject line, don't just put a subject line update or follow up. Update on what? Follow up on what? Be clear in your subject line also. People appreciate that. Another thing is the CC. And now we have CCs and BCCs. So we all know CCs is carbon copy. This means this is not sent to me for me to respond to. This is sent to me so I'm in the loop, so I know what's happening. But people are busy. People know that they have to kind of scan through and run their eyes over any CC message or email. So don't overly use or overly add too many people to CCs, because that's their time and they do know they have to read it somewhat, and everyone's busy. So just pick and choose who you're CCing. That's a good tip there. Another one would be forgetting attachments. I've done it. We've all done it. So this has nothing to do with English at all, but this just means when you're composing an email and you have to send an attachment, before you even write anything, attach that file. Attach the file before you even put to, before you put a subject line, before you put a message, attach the file. I've can't even think of how many times I've sent messages and emails and forgot to attach the document that was the most important and the only reason for the email. So we've all been there. So just attach the file first. And the last one would be proofreading. Proofreading. So again, this is another one, actually another good point about not putting everything in first. So when you're going to compose an email, you attach your file, you write your subject line, you write your message. Don't even put a to. Don't even put the address you're putting in. I know it's kind of, it doesn't go with the sequence of an email, right? You have to, subject line, and body. Forget the to. Don't even do it. Attach it, write your subject line, write your email, then go through and proofread it. Typos are a big deal. Typos is when you press the wrong key on your keyboard or on your phone. And a typo is just a spelling mistake, but not because you don't know how to spell the word. It's because the keys are close together and you're typing really quickly, and that happens. Sometimes typos can be not caught by your spell check. Hat and hate, what's the difference? An E. So if I put an E in by accident, or I don't put the E in, I thought I did, but I didn't click hard enough on the key, spell check won't pick up that I wrote a different word because it's a perfect word. So spell check or Grammarly doesn't always catch these things. So really make sure you reread your email looking for any typos. Typos do make a bad impression, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because we're busy. I type fast. I do type fast. And especially if you're dealing with global teams, you may have your phone set to Spanish, but you're writing in English, or your phone is set to Russian and you're writing in English, or your phone is set to Arabic and you're writing in English. So your spell check is not picking up on English. It's set to your own language. So this can be a really tricky one. Write your email, write your subject line, then you put in who you're sending it to after you've double checked your message. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this little masterclass on writing emails. This is a really small amount of all the information that you need for writing better emails in business English, because there's so many situations, there's so many people. But from what I've compiled for you guys today, hopefully you can take this. Again, the PDF will be pinned to the top of the comments. Print it off, highlight, get your highlighter, highlight the ones that you like, and try to use them next time. And the more you use these phrases, then your fingers are just going to remember how to write these sentences, how to write these phrases. It's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to make your emails a lot more professional, a lot more suited to you, a lot more personal, because it's not going to be run by an AI program, which again is great, but you can't do everything through AI. People do know this. And I hope that by going through these phrases and these tips, it helps you for your next email at work. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy my videos, I encourage you to please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.